And after Friday's conversation about Victoria, Miss G just made me love the song again and again. I just jammed to it. All I know is Soweto. I didn't put any lyrics to it, you know. And there's the whistle in there for me. It's the whistle for me. Hey, let me say shouts to all those on Instagram with me. I see you, JJ. I see you. All of you. I see you, all of you. But anyway, it's all good though. Now we're going to get into our conversation this morning. Quite a number of things that was trending over the weekend that we're going to get into. Now, it's going to be about Kuami Eugene, off the back of a conversation we had last week, Friday. We're talking about media relations, and we'll get deeper into it, but we have a video for you that we're going to be playing shortly. And then also, Black Sherif lookalike sex tape popping up on social media, and what does it mean for such impersonations? What does it mean for such lookalikes? What does it mean for things to the person himself who will be at the center of the conversation when lookalikes pop up? Kuami Eugene had a discussion with us when we asked him about something similar, that people even look like him. And then he said that, well, yes, he's seen a lot of lookalikes, but he's pleaded with them not to perform in his name and in his image. And also touch lightly on delay, as she also got the trends and the entertainment talkers talking, if I can say that. But right now, let's go into our quick video and play what Kuami Eugene said with regards to industry relations off the back of a little cold feast that he had with our very own Miss G. But even before that, G. Okay, no. Let's play the video first. When we come back, we'll digest it and operate on Miss G. If you understand me, we'll operate on Miss G and talk more about this, managing media relations. Check it out. I'm actually glad the two of you are having this conversation, because I know the two of you have got some.
We have. I don't know. Kwame actually is like my baby.
I have something
Kwame,
to ask.
no, but what wait. Let me get it right. What is it? I don't. Maybe I don't know about something. I don't know that Kwame has issues with me, because what I said about he being whatever it looked like he was going to exit the label, I've repeated right in his presence that I said that I was dead sure he wasn't leaving, and at a point I said if he had balls, he should let us know that he was leaving. So if that's the recent comment I've made about Kwame.
If you want to be vivid, that's not what you said.
What did I say?
But then again, I mean, this is a humble plea. I would like for...
Right. What did I say? Maybe you need to refresh my memory.
Cyril, we need to take control of this issue.
I even have a question for... No, we'll get into it. But all I'm saying is that the issue... Kwame wants to be vivid about it and be clear. Yeah. So, I mean, if he wants to go ahead, we're all here. I'm ready to mediate.
There won't be a need for a mediator, because let me just put a stop to this whole thing. I came to this industry as a very young boy. I mean, I had Angela when I was just 19 years old. And I've been taught and I've been nurtured by every single person I've seen around me.
Sorry, Cyril. You said you had Angela at 19.
The way you said you had Angela at 19, somebody who tuned in on +899 will be like, wait, Kwame.
Okay, so you had the song Angela at 19.
Oh, it's not sinking in. Bad man.
I didn't have Angela. Okay, so what I was trying to say is, I've been tutored, I've been lectured by a lot of people around me. At Miss V, I can say for a fact. Sorry.
I know you miss her.
Miss V.
I
miss V. Okay, so Miss G, I can say for a fact, is one of the people that actually were behind me when I started this whole thing. She's part of my success. I mean, she's played a very good role. At my very first proper interview that got me trended for the first time in my life on Twitter was from Miss G. And I'm very appreciative of that.
Yeah.
But as time goes on, that's why I didn't want to, talk about this thing, because she's somebody that I hold dear to my heart.
Oh.
So if it looks like things are turning the other way around, and I know, okay, she's got me like, whatever's going on, she'll probably be the first. We should talk on WhatsApp.
I'm surprised, I'm eager to hear what you want to say.
Have you actually asked yourself, why are we not talking on WhatsApp anymore?
Well, when teams change, things change. That's what I get.
All right.
Thank you.
So when teams change, things change.
Yeah, I just want to hear.
It's been a fun ride this whole time, and it's nice to see somebody that's supported from a long time and still supports. It's not like Lenny. Lenny was there when I was started. I had some few interviews with her as well. And Lenny's still she's my G. You understand? But you can't have everyone on your side forever. You can't have everyone on your side forever. And one person that got me so much was Miss G, because she was my queen when it comes to the industry. She was my go-to person. And all of a sudden, things started changing for me. I don't know what I did. If it was from the outside world, whatever she's heard, but we weren't that cool anymore. And me finding out how we weren't cool anymore was when she has the opportunity to sit on air and talk about me. I can show you a lot of videos because I have them. I actually kept them. We used to be cool, so I've saved all of them. It's in my mail. I'll forward all of it to you.
Please do.
And it's not like you're saying it as a critic. You can see it in her eyes that now there's something going on.
Oh.
And from where I sit, we've met a couple of times, but when you meet me, we talk like there's nothing going on. So I'll pass it like, oh, did you have a craze?
I've come to your concert to jump to your song.
Like we'll meet at TV3 and like, hey, how are you? Like, oh, no, I don't watch TV this Friday. I'll be for. Yeah. Then the next day, I'll see you on TV, and when my issue comes, how you daily talk about it as if we have an issue. So I told my manager that, it's two things. My mom taught me two things. If it looks like there's somebody is out there trying to, trying to put a stop to some amount of something that comes to you all the time. Because whatever I take home is my daily bread. And I flourish, I make waves, and I make more by how much people say about me out there and how far my music goes. So if there's a Miss G fan that used to love me so much, the very moment Miss G starts saying all these things about me, the person won't love me that much like they used to. That means I'm losing some fans for Miss G. You understand? And confrontation, sometimes if you don't confront the person in a very good way, it ends up in a different way. So my mom taught me two things. If you can solve it, solve it. If you can't solve it, stay away from it. So I realized from where I'm sitting, this is somebody I used to look up to. This is like a queen in the industry. I can't start a fight with Miss G. I just have to stay away from it. So I'm sorry if we don't talk on WhatsApp anymore like we used to. This is just the issue. I just have to be in my corner. I'm so sorry.
Well, I don't have to respond though, but I'm just surprised because I don't. I know how this industry, for me, this is how I think it works. And I don't want to put it in a way that must sound anyway. Kwame is like a kid brother. Like he said, when he started, I saw him and all of that. I don't think I harbor any hate towards Kwame. It's just that sometimes people expect that you toe a certain line when it comes to them because of relationship. And whilst your perception or your opinion might be different, I love this guy. You saw me rocking, you even screaming in the microphone, hey, G, you know how I was singing your song back to back? You remember the Experience concert. So it might come off to you as though maybe there's something, but I'm sorry if anything I had said anywhere sounded to you as though, because somebody I have a chat with on WhatsApp.
It's all loud. Once we have reached.
Well, could we continue the applause live in the studio? Because the applause continues. We were getting a reaction in the studio from Miss G, who's our guest this morning to talk about media relations. But we're going to generalize this conversation. But I just want to have an understanding of what really happened. Just off the back of this, and not to the fact that Kwame is not here, so we can't. We're not speaking anything against him, no. That would be very unfair. But just to understand what really happened, and then on the back of that, we used to have a good conversation about media relationships, and how to manage it sometimes. What really happened between you and Kuami Eugene?
I don't know. I've been, when I left here, before I even left, I was speaking to Anita, even Lenny, I said, I can't remember. Before I left on Friday, I told her, I said, I can't remember. Then when I got away from this premises, I was thinking, I said, but I've been off radio TV for almost a year. Like, I resigned in October last year. I started here October this year. So it's been a year being off, mainstream media. And prior to my conversation on UTV, where I was a panelist.
I love your earrings, by the way.
Oh, thank you. Oh. Prior to that conversation, I've always been in a hosting position. I have never been in the position where my job will be to analyze or critique. I don't remember, and I've been waiting for the links, that he promised to send.
Okay, so maybe to him, it's not about time. It's not about the length of time, but it's just about the incident that happened, and I've left that in my mind,
Well, and somebody also told me
what did
that.
You really say?
I don't know. So somebody also told me that it could also be hearsay. I made a comment that when the team changes, things change. Sorry. Basically, I don't know. Maybe he got what I was trying to say. I don't like making reference to the media house. Links has a very beautiful relationship with certain media house I used to work with. They almost like will give exclusive to that media house. And you know how business is. People want to juggle for space. Like he said in his conversation, he used to be my guy. Like, I used to be his girl as well. We would vibe on. And now Eugene, it's me sending me a message, say, hey, my releasing, you won't promoting Nigerian artists. I did some reel that I was dancing to a Nigerian. He sent me a message, Charlie, promote my song. You're promoting some Nigerian artists. That's how cool like the relationship is. But once I left that media house, I realized that the links in particular withdrew, and it's also because people have people they work with.
Did you ask any questions? Did you do an interview? Did you say something? Did you tweet something?
So I'm coming back to the points, but I realized that it's either hearsay. I have broken stories with Kuami that has not gone in his favor. And the last I remember is the he and Sarkodie's collaboration. It was in my conversation that he talked about how he didn't know that it was a political song, and it became a big deal. So it's either feedback.
Okay, so you said it was a political song.
That song became a song that Yappy Day, the MPP used, and there were things in that song, and people actually wanted to know why Kuami featured on the song like that. So we had an exclusive conversation. In that conversation, he talked about the fact that he didn't know that was what Sarkodie was going to use it for. He didn't have those lines at the time he was recording. Something around that. And I think the feedback, sometimes it's not directly about what you said. It's about the kind of conversations you get with this artist and the feedback they get. So if the conversation doesn't go well, it's a mystery conversation. Why did you ask this question? So I'm generalizing it now because it's not the first time I'm having issues with, people in this industry. Wendy was here a few days ago and it's almost same thing. I asked her a question that became a conversation. Why did you ask her this question? Because the answer put her in a bad light. So it is not the first time. However, it was just because he had held on to it and he was going on and on about, and I was willing to see this link. And I remember that when the conversation was going on, the production room, they kept saying, don't say anything, just apologize. And I don't have a problem apologizing to anybody. It is I always say that this job, but for it, I don't care about your business. It is a job that puts food on my table. My job is to inquire and be curious about things and ask the questions that the people want to ask, but they will not get the opportunity to ask. What do I care about you after the interview? We don't have any personal, like even as it said here, I won't come and ask you, where is your mommy living? Well, it is about the job. Once a job is done, it's done. But people fail to understand that. Again, you can't always be singing, somebody's praise every time. Sometimes even if you have, look at Camilo start right to by me on the day his performance didn't go well. I didn't say behind him. He was here when I said, look, and everybody here said, make we not talk, make we not talk. I said, me, I go talk him. But it doesn't mean that I hate him. If he wasn't here and I said it in his absence, maybe he would feel like, okay, why should go talk my matter like this? I thought we were friends, like a big sister, blah, blah, blah. So how
is this different from you seeing a Christian Amampo interview a president and asking questions, that the people like? I want first I want to understand. Maybe I'm not getting a gist of this, but I want to understand how, because she's made a valid point, about I'm asking questions. But at what point in time does the relationship and the politics of the industry play in and has to be managed? Because all this is about managing relationship, So I have a very good relationship with Sarkodie. I have a very good relationship with Stonebwoy. Shatta, Samini. So, how do I manage it when I have things I want to ask that are very pressing? Should I water it down or should I be honest about it?
I think I personally have always believed that you are first a journalist before anything. Mm-hmm. I mean, we all have friends who are in the military, excuse me, who are in the police, who are in the medical field. And when you put on that uniform, mm-hmm. in this case, when we put on our mics, it's time for us to do our job. Regardless of whether we are friends or enemies, when you sit before us and we speak to you or we have conversations barring any form of controversy or any form of sensationalism. That's what I believe. We have those conversations. Even the uncomfortable conversations, we would have to have them because we are the eyes and the ears as well as the voice of the people. There are definitely people who are going to enjoy the drama side that comes with it. But there are also people who want to understand or who want to have that intellectual or see that intellectual conversation. So if we have a conversation and you think maybe the conversation is a ploy or perhaps an intentional effort to derail you or to degrade you, then I think you are missing the point because it's a job that we are doing.
Kuami mentioned that he had a relationship or he has a relationship with, and it's just not centered on Kuami, it's just as a case study.
Yeah.
Kuami mentioned that he has a relationship with Miss G.
Yeah.
Now, doesn't that also come to play when you have a team and the team is supposed to play by team rules to show a certain, not to be seen as you are the opposition to the team? Because from what he said, and this is why I'm coming back to the situation, he probably felt hurt or felt he had to draw back because he felt he had a certain relationship with Miss G.
At this
there's
point
there's always rules of engagement.
Sorry. I'm just saying that at this point in time, we are not too clear on what exactly Miss G said or Miss G did. It's just like she said, based on hearsay. And I would have appreciated it if he sent a link so we do a proper look at, Miss G didn't say it well, Miss G didn't ask the question well. But it's just based on his perspective. And we have not had the opportunity to see which perspective that is coming from. Because Miss G has had a number of interviews with him. No, I'm coming. Miss G is the one who spoke to him. According to Miss G, she does not immediately remember which of the conversations that led to.
I think it's irrelevant, Lily.
No, I mean, because if that's the case, then your character assassinating Miss G.
No, I'm not character assassinating.
No, because you don't know the conversation.
You said the premise of the soldier and the policeman and the fireman and blah blah blah.
Right.
Miss G was in uniform.
Yes.
She's there to do what she's there to do. That's the purpose for which we need PR, because expectations need to be managed, conversations need to be shaped. That's why media PR is important for any creator or celebrity who is going on the platform. I cannot assume that J. Foley and I are cool. So when I come and sit here and see real, J. Foley is not going to drill me down to uncomfortable places that I don't want to talk about. I have to clarify. you get what I'm saying? And I think that
now you're the
assumption is that because we are friends, me going to this media house, they are going to put the whole focus of the conversation with our friendship in mind. That is a wrong assumption for any media personnel, any celebrity personnel to carry into any media space. Because like Ms. G said, she's not out there looking for gossip on you. She's not out there prying into your personal matters. She's at post to deliver a professional service. And the people who are looking for her for the expected information don't care about how close she is to artist A or artist B. They want to hear the question, that girl really chop him. That's what the person at home wants. You understand? No matter how much you and I be cool off air, the listeners and the viewers now want to hear that hard conversation.
Like the conversation you had with Kuami Ayat and Walasi. Outside the conversation, we are all friends. But when they came here, we put hard-hitting questions to them. Are you comfortable in your space? Why are you not doing this?
But they didn't get offended.
That's what I'm saying, that unless Kuami Eugene tells us that Miss G asked a question that was out of line or borderline offensive, then we can have a different conversation. But as far as
that's why I'm asking the thing about team. Because there's no team.
There's artist team.
Management.
No team. Yeah, no. I'm general.
Okay. All right.
So I'm just trying to put myself in Kuami Eugene's shoes. That this is my big sister. this is somebody that I chat with her. So let's put celebrity and on-air personality, or let's put all the showbiz glitz and glamour aside. This is my big sister. This is somebody that I go to talk to. This is somebody who talks to me. So when we come into the public, he felt like I shouldn't be receiving any questions that are in the favor of your profession.
Okay.
So that is where he feels there's a shortfall. And because of that, maybe it happened twice without you even realizing that, I had actually asked you a question that, in my job, I'll have to ask you a question. I have to ask you. So he felt like, my big sister is now drilling me off. When I come on air, she's drilling me. So,
But Jay, the job is the job. The job is the job. You should
we are both on parallel lines. So I'm just saying that, yes, the job is a job. I'll ask you questions. But let's say, for example, I've known Lenny for years. And now we are on air and Lenny is questioning me about my, something. And then I'm asking like myself, but this Lenny no day. So why is she trying to get clicks on a website from me or something? So she does it once. She's doing her job. Maybe it happens again on her blind side too, and I'm like, you know what? Nah, I'm done with Lenny. So at that point in time, there is personal relationship that I have with Lenny that is, I feel is being abused. So that's how I feel Kwame felt.
Yeah, but
and I'm saying that
you should get to the point where you are able to separate your emotions, right? Have emotional intelligence enough to know that whatever question this person is asking, they're asking because they want to get some answers from you. So take it that the public is purely looking at you in a certain light or looking at you in a certain way, right? This person is now in that position to ask the questions that the public is asking without, having to jeopardize anything. Right? Because the people, not everybody, if there are 1,000 people asking the same question, all 1,000 people can come to you. But let's say Miss G has heard what the people are asking. She can also put the people's thoughts and questions across to you. So you should be able to understand that you're not here to be pampered. You get what I mean? Whatever question has to be put to you, you have to answer it.
On a point you just made. I agreed, but I disagree on the last. You're not here to be pampered. I think every conversation has got its purpose. When Trigmatic came here, after the conversation, when he was exiting, he said, "I loved this interview." Okay, I'm sure there was a certain focus to the conversation. There are interviews that are specific for maybe
headlines.
Yes, like you know what? I've come here because you are here because I want to. And they are promotional interviews.
Yeah.
So I think it would depend on the conversation.
No, if I say pampering, I don't mean say that if there's a question you have to ask the person, then you're beating about the bush. That's what I mean. If there's a question you need to hit on the head,
like,
you hit it on the head and you say it however you're supposed to say it. You get what I mean? You don't beat about the bush and say that, you have a personal relationship with the person, so you're not going to do your job. In the end, when that piece of work goes out, it's going to be like, I feel like this person wasn't able to do justice to this interview in the way they were supposed to. And that's a dent on your reputation and with whatever you bring to the table as well.
So is it safe for talent or on-air personalities to build relationships? Because
it is safe.
See, that's what I was saying. That the talent, for how do I say it? If let's not use a specific. If Jay Foley was on stage, right, in the middle of his performance, and I thought, me and you be cool, so I can't join you. This song you perform, Mama, me too, I can sing, so I can't join you on stage. It will be unprofessional, no matter how cool our relationship is, or how cool we are, or how much everybody knew that Jay Foley and Cyril, they be cool. I would give you that freedom to perform and be a professional on stage. Same way when you walk into any media house, radio, TV station, you need to know that the person sitting there has his own production crew in his ear. There's management, there's targets, there's a goal to this interview. That's what the PR etiquette is about. So that as a celebrity or a socialite or a musician, whatever, actor, actress, when you walk into a media house, you know that the content for the day is going to be milked from you.
So just
you are there for the slaughter. One way or the other. The slaughter might be in your own to your own benefit. If you are able to do the tug of war in such a way that it shows a more mature, insightful side of you. Because we've had people here where we've thrown tough questions to them, and their comebacks and the way they shield it off, we all, at the end of the show, we go, solid. It's your responsibility. So you come here to spar.
I think
you come on air to spar.
I wanted to add to what Sherif was saying. Typical example, right? When Delay calls you an interview, you know what to expect.
Yeah.
You know that you are going into a den of lions.
Yeah.
Because the kind of questions she's going to ask you already know. So it's not like, Delay don't ask me this.
Does she have that relationship with
No, some of them she has.
No,
Some of them she has.
I beg to differ.
Amarado's interview, for example, is a perfect case study.
No, Amarado and Delay's relationship, if they put themselves there to do that, they both will probably laugh after the interview.
That is what we are saying.
I may not be able to give the best explanation.
Let me give you an example of what you're saying. Delay is like a big sister. We go to church together. She calls me Akpene. Delay, G, I don't remember the last time Delay called me Miss G. She calls me Akpene. And Delay's interview, I've been on Delay's interview before. And before I even went on the interview, it took like months. When she called the first time, I said, say. Then she called and said, Akpene, into me interview, no. So we have a relationship. We go to church together. If I go to church on Sunday, she comes, I see her, we stand, talk. But she didn't have to make it about our friendship when I was on the interview. She asked the questions she wanted to ask. Exactly. I responded in ways that I wanted to respond as well. I think the thing with celebrities, and I've said it a number of times, is that, for lack of a better word, they love to be pampered. And when things don't go their way, the one who interfaces with them becomes the problem. I've had a number, look, it's this just one or two people who are really telling me. I've had people who say, if it's a Miss G interview, I'm not doing it. If it's a Miss G interview, I'm not doing it. But I won't back off. This is my style. Don't come for it. And it doesn't become... it's not a big deal to me. I feel like people don't go to interviews prepared. So they are expecting you to ask the same kind of questions that, why do you like rice? I like rice because not everybody wants to ask questions like that. You understand? Why do you like rice? And why will you eat rice in the morning and not eat
meaningless questions?
I don't believe that they are meaningless questions. I just feel like everybody has their style.
No, but if you are doing that, that's why I was saying that it depends on what you are going for, the kind of show. Even on the same network, right? The kind of show, the host, the whoever. So there are exposés that you want to do an in-depth with somebody. And something like, what rice are you eating? In an in-depth expose.
I will not take that as an example. You know what? I'm going to hold brief for the talent.
Oh, you like rice?
I'm going to hold brief for the talent because sometimes on-air personalities too are very deliberate on certain things. Look,
that is what we are saying.
It's very, very easy. To host a politician who hasn't done his work or who may have questions regarding a certain role he's supposed to play as service to the people and has fallen short. And I'm questioning you. And an artist who has released a song who owes nobody
really that's a wrong assumption.
No, an artist releasing a song that we doesn't.
Your fans ascribe to your music brand. Listen,
hold on. Let's not mix it up. When I decide to be an artist, a musician, and I want to sing, and I release a song, and it goes out there, and you call me for an interview, and I come, and in the interview, it seems and feels like you are being the purpose of what I do. It's been pushed aside. Now there's a deliberate, consistent effort to just try and find news out of me by drilling down certain things that do not matter to the conversation we are having. That is where sometimes some on-air personalities feel. And I feel that because that has been consistent for a while, a lot of talents have reached a certain point where they have tagged and marked certain people, so they don't even want to have certain associations with them, and even platforms in general, because they feel like this person, when I go, there's just going to be a lot of controversy
whose fault is it? Is the average Ghanaian demand for such news.
Not even that.
When we have
that is the culture that
when we have intelligent conversations.
Let me use trick. I'm cool with. So if I say it,
now you're looking for who you're cool with.
Last year we finished, we all went to the barbering shop together to sit down
really?
And chat. We have our own kulus going on. So yeah, maybe when Trig and I are having maybe Trig comes in and then I start. Because I have hearsays, and I start maybe Delay's way of interviewing. She works on a lot of things that are not what it. Yeah, that's her style. Yeah. You know, much respect to her. That's her style and her strategy. So she questions you on.
You either confirm or deny.
Confirm.
So
or
when
deny.
you're going, you go prepared.
So I mean that's Delay. So when an artist, the talent comes for an interview. As a musician, and the conversation sways into what Trick said, sways into you. I come here to come and ask me about my ex-girlfriend and the person he or she feels like that is not of importance to me. And
let me
listen right now.
Let me say something. A big part of celebrity culture is the spotlight into the life of the celebrity. The celebrity himself focuses on what they create. Actor, music, whatever, blah, blah. But the fact remains that your life is going to be torn apart and looked into. That's why you have the same problem with paparazzi. That's why you have the same problem with tabloids. You've heard about Kanye smashing photographers' cameras, Eminem, Jay-Z, everybody, because it is your life that people are subscribing to, not just the music. Otherwise, an alleged black Sherif sex tape won't matter. If the music was the only thing that we care about, it wouldn't matter who is eating what, who lost weight, who wore what, who went where, who is dating what. It's bigger than the music. It's bigger than what you create. You are the product. So when you subject yourself to a media house, the focus of the media house cannot just be on what you created, because your fan base is not just reliant on that MP3. The fan base is reliant on Trigmatic, the whole brand. So there might be a platform that, yes, wants to ask about whatever his personal relationships. That's the purview of that platform. There might be another platform that says we don't want to talk about that tabloid kind of stuff. We want to talk in-depth, mature stuff. That's the purview of that media house. But we cannot say that the musicians and the creatives are being targeted and they have the right that when they come on air, they should only be asked the comfortable, peaceful, quote-unquote questions. But and then let's talk about your new release.
As an exception, because of her professionalism, and I mean, she's coming at you like journalists coming at you with asking questions that matter to you.
Hard-hitting questions.
Don't you feel that also Ghanaian on-air personalities, a lot of us have abused and misunderstood our purpose of our jobs?
That's because
when we get our talents, we are not seen to be support. We are not seen. I beg your pardon. For want of a better expression, we are not seen to be supportive of what they do. But you tune in across multiple stations, and it's just constant, heavy abuse.
Two factors. Two factors, right? The first factor is what you said. A lot of people have lost their way. Those asking the questions. And it gets addictive to be able to squeeze tabloid and headlines and clickbait out of unsuspecting celebrities. Right? Like somebody, again, Trigmatic, we are all finding Trigmatic. So we use them. Like a trade comes to Culture Daily and then we gang up on him and make him feel uncomfortable and ask a bunch of awkward stuff. Sure, we'll get our clickbait and we'll have sound bites and funny videos to share to leverage our brand. Right? And that would be our error. Then there's also the issue of him being prepared for that. You see, we can ask the question. Nothing stops him from diverting or answering in a way that sets the tone for the interview. I've seen interviews where celebrities say, I don't really want to get into that. I want us to focus on my album. I have the tour coming out. I'd appreciate it if the conversation went this way, that way. People have been bold and shut it down. That's fine. And no matter how much Rambo day your eye top, when a celebrity is able to leverage up a conversation like that on air, even the fans go respect the whole situation.
I have a question I'll ask.
And in short, when you're going for an interview,
that's okay.
Oh, you're the devil's advocate. We saw uniform for you already.
When you're going for an interview, I think that you shouldn't be fixated on which possible questions you could be asked, because the person can ask you anything, right? Probe into your career, personal life, business, anything and everything, because you are a brand. You're not just a musician. It's a whole 360, like
your life
I
is
earlier,
the product.
like I earlier mentioned. It's a whole 360.
I like your
so
stance.
you don't call
a
the
very
shots
simple question
to now come and say that, ask me this question or ask me that particular question. Or, I mean, there are times that you ask questions and if they do not want to answer, they say, I don't want to answer, or let's move on, or next question, or they play around it in some type of way. So there's that possibility as well. But when you are going for an interview, just don't put it in mind that this is the only question that I want them to ask me, because you don't have the questions that the people want to ask you unless there's a prior agreement that says I have a list of questions for you. You go through the questions, you approve of which one, and then when you go there and the person veers off that question, then you can vex.
They can even say they are not answering that. Let's stick to the synopsis, or let's stick to the let me just add to what you said. You know, I have a policy, and my policy is, did it happen? If it did, why can't you talk about it? If you make a post and you cannot defend your post, how does that become my business asking you about a post you made yourself? If you did something and somebody, say for instance, somebody says something about you, and I ask you, oh, Jay Foley said this about you, did you hear it? And you say, why am I asking you about Jay Foley? Of course, he spoke about you. What is my job? My job is not to come and you see, I say everybody has their style. I get really fed up about, the normal, the everything normal. I want to probe. That is my style. And so it's okay to say, oh, this girl, I'm not going anywhere close to her.
Are you worried about what the people will say about the person after the conversation, after the question you ask?
I'm not worried about what the people will say about the person. The person
the mental health of the person.
The person answering.
Afterwards.
That's why I said that most of our celebrities do not know how to speak during interviews.
No, but I'm saying that. Are you worried about?
Am I worried about asking Jay Foley, why do you have a hairstyle that looks like you're in Stone Boys camp when every day you're singing Shatawali? No, wait, I'm just making an example.
That question you have to
you don't have the right.
If I ask a question like that, somebody will say, oh, but why are you fixated on his hair? Can't he style his hair any way he wants to? But it depends on what you tell me. You could turn that around and say, well, does Beam own the hairstyle? And if you said does Beam own the hairstyle and the Beam fans come for you, did I say it on your behalf? If you say something else and it goes well, that one there, I've not done anything. But once it goes bad, they begin to look for where the problem is. You shouldn't have asked this way. You should have even brought that into the conversation. Again, you have the option to say, I'm not interested in answering this question. I think that a lot of the people we work with in this space always want to find people to blame when things go wrong. They don't go back to say, maybe I should have spoken this way, or maybe I should have said it in this way. Maybe I need to learn how to begin to answer questions. And what I have no knowledge about, I should be free to say I have no knowledge about. When Wendy started here, she said she learned a lot from some of the things that have happened to her. We all learn. Look, I've also granted interviews where I've gone back to say, oh, I shouldn't have said this about myself. I should have said it this way. But I would never come and say the presenter shouldn't have asked me that, because you don't own what people ask you. That's why I always say that I don't believe there's anything like a stupid question, because you don't know what side of the person woke up from or what the person is thinking. And Adams sent me a message and I says, I'm not serious. What did you eat rice in the morning? That thing I said no. Somebody can just wake up feeling excited. And for some people, they are conversation breakers. Some of these questions that we feel like, oh, they don't have to ask. If I say, like, for instance, the hair example again, it could have been just a breaker, an icebreaker for me to ask you bigger things. But I can't just go start like, oh, Jay Foley, I've been doing this business for da. And I hear that when you were here, I want to start on a note that makes you comfortable. I just think that our artists, the people in the showbiz business that we are working with, they don't know the role of the media. I could be your friend and still ask you what is being asked on the street. And mind you, there are presenters who have been criticized, insulted, bullied for not asking the questions the fans wanted to hear. And because they feel, oh, this is my friend, let me protect. I don't do that. I have a personal relationship with you. I can call you. And like when people are bashing people, I send them DMs, oh, Charlie, these two go past. It doesn't mean mean that when I also get you to ask you a question, I won't ask you about why you're training because you did this, you did that. It is my job. And the moment they begin to see the difference between your job and being friends or allies with them, it helps all of us. They don't respect or they don't understand the job of the media. I am doing my work. I'm not supposed to come and be babysitting anybody.
I still have a question that hasn't been answered. I've given 3 of you the chance to speak.
What's the question?
I want to hear from Olele as well before I ask that question.
You say you've not asked the question. You've not answered.
I haven't been answered because
you've not asked the question.
Yes, exactly, because you were the points you were making. I thought I'd find an answer in there.
Jay, how do we answer what we haven't asked?
We haven't hit the nail on the head on that.
I think all 3 of my colleagues have said what I was going to say, but I'm just going to add this. What is the fact? The fact is we are in an industry that thrives on sensationalism. That is the fact. You could have an intelligent conversation with an artist or a celebrity. You could write about it and the headlines wouldn't give you the clicks. Even right here in this studio, Kuami Eugene, and I'm using our example, Kuami Eugene talked about a plethora of things that we asked him, right? Do you know the conversation that got a lot of traction? It is a conversation where he says No Dwelling was his song and that he gave it to Keche. That is the post that has actually got more traction than any other intelligent post we posted about a conversation on the internet. That is the truth of our reality, right? Now, if you move away from that, we come back to the artist himself. Most of them lack media training. In Chile, they will say, Omonim Kasa.
You are getting close to my question, but
because this is the question here. Like Miji said, there's no stupid question, right? The question you ask, depending on the answer you get, will either qualify the question as stupid or not. I'm sorry to use Miji's example. When she asks, who is Wendy Shea, right? She asked it on the premise of a particular context, but the response Wendy gave was what went viral. Mm-hmm. Do you understand what I'm saying? Yeah. So sometimes it's not like it's on the presenter. It's a two-way thing. Depending on the energy you get on the other side, it's either make or break you. Apart from that, we come to the platforms. When you go into a particular platform, a media platform, you know their policy. Their policy is they are looking for the news that will give them the traffic. So as an artist, what do? You either ask them that, okay, I am coming onto your platform and I know the kind of questions you people ask. But for me to grant this interview, I want to just stick on this and that and that and that. Like Lenny said, you sign ahead because you know the terrain you are going into. Let's not act as if we are naive as to what our media landscape is like. We know the places where we go to, I had a call, correct questions. Because as an artist, when you go there, you know they have to prepare yourself. Here, Culture Daily, we have been able to build a brand such that any artist that comes in knows that he has to come ready and strapped. Because we're going to ask you about your numbers, about your streams, what you're doing, and all that. If you go somewhere, they don't mind, they don't care because inform home because their audience themselves are not ready for that kind of news. Artists need to know where they are going to and prepare themselves. It's as simple as that. Okay. Know the individual you are interacting with. If you come to me or you come to learn, you come to Miji for an interview, you know that I'm going to ask you in-depth questions about your craft, about the business of your craft. If you go elsewhere, you know they're going to ask you that.
I admire, like I said today, whether I like it or not, I'm holding brief for the talent.
More fire.
Okay.
I admire the passion with which, and for me, because I'm a player of words, I'm not moved by emotions and stresses people put to pronunciations of words. I hope you understand what I'm saying. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, when I'm having an argument with you, and whether you stress hard on a word or not, I see it as another word you put before me. So to all my team here, I'm not really moved by by how much.
I want to last. That's what you want to say.
I'm not really moved by it, but what I want to say is that, in as much as that we are here, squeezing the neck of the talents on preparations and being professional, how many on-air personalities have gone through any form of training to even know how to ask the right questions at the right time, considering the right mood? Eugene just landed here at 7:30 a.m.
from Australia.
From a long flight. He just said, we did our job rightly. I didn't say we didn't. We did our job right. I think he had a great conversation with us. But imagine if he had landed on a certain platform that was full of attacks on his last girlfriend, his last this,
links
who he did, and all. Like, all those things, would it be, and that's what I'm saying, talking about professionalism, would it be an ideal moment to even be doing such things to the artist? Or you call the artist that, hey, I want to, today we were talking and your interview, your new song is out there, I want you to come and let's have an interview. The artist is coming to you on a certain conversation that you and him have had, or you and her have had.
Why do Kuami Eugene choose to come here?
I'm coming. No, I'm coming.
No, if you answer that question, you answer your question. Why do Kuami Eugene choose to come here and not go to any other
No. I can't answer that. I'm not privy to the conversation that management had with Kuami Eugene.
It's very simple.
But I'm making a point that I'm coming. I'm making a point. No, I'm making a point. I allowed you guys to finish.
Yeah.
No, guys. Let me clear his microphone. Oh,
the mic was off. You did it on purpose. You're sabotaging me. So listeners, when I said wisdom off the mic, the wisdom said if I forget.
You were saying something about a mad dog.
I'm saying that.
But I didn't finish my submission.
Listen, your question. This has he been fair? If he has been fair, no. He gathered us and shut up. Panel, has he been fair? If the panel says he has been fair, I'll talk.
Allow him to finish. But my point hasn't been made. My question.
No, make your point before you say I'm a bad journalist.
Let's say I've bumped into maybe Sarkodie at a function, and then we chat, and he has a new song, Al Labadi. Is that Labadi Beach or Alapam? Labadi. And I said, oh, Charlie, your song, the Jomo. Charlie, come, we talk about the song, let's promote it. So he has a mindset.
Right.
And then he comes onto the interview, and here I am asking him about, so Tracy, I heard say that you damn become Sean, is it true?
But like Miss G said, there are icebreakers.
No, I'm coming. And the artist feels like, wait a second, like, I expect more professionalism from you. Than certain, because certain questions.
That's not right to say. So, for instance, let's just
certain questions coming from certain unprofessional.
It's not unprofessional to ask.
No, because we ourselves, and I'm using myself as an example. I haven't been to any media training school, in journalism school. So,
but you've learned on the job.
I'm coming. So. I stand to be.
Production says I should ask you what you are doing here. Please, don't shoot the messenger.
I stand to make mistakes. So you can imagine, okay, so that's 20 years of experience.
They are going to fire all of us.
Somebody equally jumps on air because he gets a job on a news station that has just come up, and their focus is to trend. So when they get a certain on-air I
don't like how you are talking about
they tend to. They tend to.
Let me just go answer your question. So, and I want to use that example that
my
you
question
gave.
now.
That example.
After the preview, my question is:
You've not asked it yet.
Do we have our fifth? Do we have no? How do I phrase it? Can we get 50% of media personalities in Ghana holding any certification of any sort?
Yes, you can, Jay. Yes, you can.
On-air personality.
Yes.
But Jay, the fact that you go for
yes,
the certificate doesn't even necessarily mean that
at least.
Exactly.
It's a flawed question. You know it's a flawed question? I'll tell you why it's a flawed question.
Why?
Because at least having a certificate, and I say this carefully, at least having a certain certificate from a certain institution shows you've gone through a certain training.
Yeah.
Yes. Not to downplay those who have learned from experience.
But it doesn't mean that.
I'm not saying no. I did not say that. You see, you are getting it wrong.
No, but
I did not say you are putting words in my mouth. I did not say
nobody put words in your mouth.
You have gone if you haven't gone to a
50%.
I did not say. I did not say that if you haven't gone to a journalism school or training school, it means you're not professional. No, I didn't say that.
But that's what are you implying?
Take teaching for example.
What are you implying?
Take teaching for example. I have gone to school. I have learned. I can enter into teaching, into a classroom and teach kids because but GES would require that you have a certification so they can be able to properly manage what is being what you call it? What is being what you call it?
Authentic or not?
What is being so I'm just saying that I'm just saying that it will be ideal that some of us media personalities who have the power to sit behind the microphone should also possibly have a certain level of training.
Definitely, I don't think that
it will only be ideal so that
I don't forget. I don't think that in today's media space, I would doubt that people are hiring people who do not have certification, who are not qualified to be behind the microphone. However, people's styles will change with the business trend. Like you said, somebody can have a master's in journalism and all of that, but still his paymasters say, this is the strategy for this radio station. He will forget everything he learnt in class and go with the strategy for the radio station. Now, let's go back to that example you gave. Say Sarkodie releases an album and comes to have an interview, and you said the interview is supposed to promote his album. Who says that if a tweet is flying around that he's breaking up with Tracy, and you ask him during that conversation, it is still not promotion of whatever himself and whatever he's doing, because there's a tweet actually flying around saying
but you're
that,
making a tweet flying around.
Exactly. There's always a premise. There's always a premise.
We're not talking about a tweet flying around. We are talking about...
You made a general statement.
Yes.
You didn't say it's without any premise.
Yes.
So I'm saying that most people, and myself for example, we ask questions based on premise. There's something we've seen. There's something that is happening.
But my question hasn't been answered.
Well, you will never get an answer because
my
you're
question
taking
is
a
about,
position.
It's about
so I'm saying that the media people, the media people, and again,
yes.
we need to know, like you said, people, whether they learned on the job or they went to school, when you're practicing, there are times that you will make mistakes.
Yeah.
Just like the person who comes to sit in front of you that you're giving an interview or who is granting you an interview.
Oh, so
makes
with their
mistakes.
own personality,
Why
it
would
is
not you make
acceptable
mistakes?
that you...
No.
Let me answer your question.
That is being unfair.
Guys,
Let me use a recent example. No.
As mere personalities, there are times
No, Jay,
Definitely make mistakes.
Everybody makes mistakes.
Guys.
Everybody makes mistakes.
That is why
Yes.
even here in the studio, when Eugene complained vividly about something I still do not know, I said, if I have in any way said things that didn't make you happy, I am sorry, because I am human. I could have truly done things that made him unhappy. And so it is not like we are perfect beings. Nobody is out here to create that impression. But when we both understand that
we can't water down our mistakes to
Jay, no,
we
that's
are
not
not
we are not watering
down.
down our
We are not
mistakes.
We are watering down our errors as imperfection.
No, wait. If I want to,
But we can't.
Jay,
Jay,
if I wanted to water that and play like a superhuman being, play like a superhuman being here, I could have gone on and say I am right about whatever I said. It is my opinion. Blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
Somebody is expressing.
But that's what we are doing.
That's not what happened.
Jay,
I said
guys,
sorry if anything like that happened, because I accept the fact that I accept the fact that there are times I might also go wrong. I might be right with my submission, but somebody says their emotions are being hurt. What do I stand to gain hurting somebody's emotions?
But the wrong, but the imperfection is what is causing.
This is my. But we are all imperfect. If they were perfect beings, they will not be here complaining about you did this, did that to me.
Yeah,
there are things that they've done. Let me just summarize what I want to say, and this is my final words. When we learn that this business together with the people, and I keep saying every time when Trigmatic was here, I said that, I believe that this is my content. And without you, to some extent, my job will not have maybe the beauty that it has. So you, who is the celeb, make my job easier because you're giving me content. But also don't forget that I'm also promoting you. And I'm in business as you're in business. Why do you want your business to flourish at the detriment of mine?
I will come to this conversation.
So at the time when we accept that it's a hand-go, hand-come thing, we would all be fine.
I'm not done with this topic with Jay, your submission.
Jay,
I want to hear from Cyril.
Let me just quickly say something.
Okay. Permission.
The late Komla Dumont.
Yes.
I'm just going to run you through his CV. Host of Joy FM Spam Morning Show from 2006. Hosted BBC Network Africa. Went ahead to host Focus on Africa. He hosted BBC World News at some point.
You're just speaking into your microphone.
Africa Business Report.
This is exactly. See,
and
if we all go to school,
Jay, hold on.
I'm just teasing. Relax. No, relax.
When he started his career with Joy FM as morning show host in 2003, he became the winner of Journalist of the Year. He became the winner as a Journalist of the Year award at the Ghana Journalists Association. When you read his
and there was
profile,
controversy that he didn't go to GIJ
thank
and
you
all
very
of
much.
that.
He didn't go to GIJ. He never went to any media school. But today, parents want to tell their kids that, oh, I saw a journalist, I saw it say then, I'm
responding. That's a very wrong example.
You
because
precedent.
How many of such stories are we going to get?
There are plenty.
Jay,
what I'm saying, journalists has compared to 30 million other people. I will not accept that.
Jay, there are so many of these people right now. I think what we have to understand is
that's the reason why we are where we are today.
Hold on. What we have to understand is
I stand in there that we have a lot of unprofessional on-air personalities.
No, but Jay, hold on. If you are going to pin it on
causing chaos on air.
If you are going to pin it on a certificate, that is wrong because we have trained amateurs, we have gifted amateurs. Now the trained amateurs have the benefit of having to go to school and doing da. The gifted amateurs have to identify or have the lack to identify at a young age that I'm gifted in this. Now when these gifted amateurs go the extent of having training, then that is good. That is a special addition, right? But you can't necessarily pin it on a certificate and say if you want to be in a particular field, you should have a certificate because then there's also experience and years on the job that give you the equal skill as somebody who has gone to school to get the training.
No,
Jay,
you guys
it
have
is.
confused
you want
this.
How have we confused
What I'm saying is that listen, we easily water down our errors. I promise you. Miss, you were saying that
we don't water down our errors in any way.
And then you let me show what you guys are doing. You first off, I mean, if I'm a lawyer, I'll say that. Look, her statement was, if we make mistakes, we are imperfect. That's one. Number two. Hold on.
That's not what I said.
No, I mean,
I said we make mistakes just like the person we are speaking to.
And then you raise Komla as another example of one-off person who has won journalism of the year. And there's the situation that we are in this country does not give everybody a chance to go into journalism. So what I'm just saying is that
did you speak or you didn't speak?
What I'm saying is that a lot of on-air personalities get no level of training.
Don't do that.
And a lot of us
don't do that.
No.
When you say a lot, it's debatable.
Let me put it to we are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in this room.
Don't do that.
I'm coming. Hold on, Jay. I'm coming. Hold on.
If I may,
I want since we are getting.
You have been coming since you have never arrived.
I know, right? Let me tell you this. If any of us in here, before we had a chance for the microphone to be opened for us to start talking, had a certain training,
of course,
let the person step forward here right now.
I did. I went to the GBC training school.
So hold on. 2. Sure, did you do that?
No.
I didn't do that. Did you do that?
So that's wait.
Before you went on air.
Yes.
That doesn't matter.
Wait.
In this room now, even 2 of us in this room.
Does it make you inconsistent?
No, you are missing the point.
But that's what you've been driving at all this while.
What I'm saying is that
your point is flawed.
What I'm saying is that sometimes, you see, because the 3 of, and I'm happy you said that, when Lenny is asking questions, you see the intellect with which she comes to the questions. When same across me, same to you guys. You mentioned how deep you go because there's been a certain level of training.
Yes.
So it will only be ideal that sometimes I'm saying because sometimes we personalities, because some of us didn't get any level of training in the jobs we do.
And I'm saying it's not because of the training.
We sometimes don't know how to manage
I don't think
our
it's training.
talents when we engage them.
I think it's not training.
So there are a few comments here.
Okay.
Because we have just about 10 minutes left. I beg your pardon.
Okay,
with all due respect.
Go ahead.
As a professional.
Who doesn't have training? As a professional, who doesn't have training?
Who over the years of many years.
But that's what we are saying.
No, hold on.
Don't mind him.
Hold on. You are getting it wrong.
You actually have, you know what you have done?
Kwame should understand that this is your favor because it says Kwame should understand.
I don't really need anything in my favor.
Kwame should understand that no matter the relationship between him and Miss G, can't stop from doing her work because she's a journalist and not always to speak in his favor. Thank you. I beg your pardon. Pedro says, watching the best show live and clear from Indianapolis. Kumasi Tanoso.
Oh, when you said that, I was like, bigger. How did we get there?
Bigger, bro. Right. You got us right there. We're gonna blindly say, "Hey, Roche." But Charlie, shouts to you, bro. You're still from fire and watching us. That's what's most important. Yeah, I feel
but we
you.
actually have people
watching us outside.
Yes, he's in Kumasi now. Arthur Kwab says there must be a deliberate attempt to have a conversation with your guest, which he or she will be welcomed anytime you reach out. But a situation where you make the guest feel uncomfortable anytime they appear on your shows, they'll never come back. #Culture Daily. GOKIC says, okay, GOK is asking the question that we put. He says, what I know about media relation is regardless of who you are, people will talk, but will do their jobs best to please audience out there. We learn each and every other when we please, the ads are so many, so I get confused in there, GOK. But thank you very much for your submission. Anyway, so we have a few minutes left.
There's another one from Prince Kweko on Twitter. He says, no one is perfect, but sometimes you do ask those questions for shaggy reasons. And then he says, Jay Foley, I'm siding with you on the non-select questions.
Hallelujah.
That's why you're asking non-select questions.
Non-select questions media personnel throw at creatives they
yes.
Oh,
yes.
Somebody's bringing up Lenny's earrings.
Earrings, yes.
Yeah, I just saw that.
Nice
Monday morning. Nice Monday. Wait, let me talk about Lenny's earrings. Mr. Professional. Mr. Professional.
No.
Wait, it says nice Monday morning, and Lenny is making a statement with the earring. Show it to us, baby.
Yeah.
Come on. They're beautiful.
So see, 3 out of the 2 of us, we don't go to school. have gone through a certain level of professional training. So that's why your mind is built.
And accept that your environment in which you started your career has also helped shape the kind of personality you become. If I started my career in perhaps these places where we say they ask non-select questions, perhaps I would have been
influenced.
A product of that. But my journey, where I started, the environment also influenced the way I ask my questions.
Yeah, and that
you can go have training.
That's what I'm saying. That how many people? I mean, look, let's be real. City FM,
yes,
right? I mean, bro, how much more? What should I say?
But you've gone through your mail. You see, with that example you made. Wait,
TV3.
Wait.
You are making me as you feel.
No, wait. With that example you made, you see how you got excited when you said CTFM.
Yeah.
You see what? Have you seen a Bernard Avley and an entertainer interview before? Did you see what's the name? Stonebwoy.
Oh, I listened to John
Dumelo's interview.
Umaru
Wait. Let me go back to this example. Did you see Umaru Sanders' interview with John Dumelo's interview? I bet you, if it was an entertainer who did that interview, they will say we are looking for John Dumelo's downfall.
Even Sander caught fire for that.
Let me not even say before
even
I get
you know what? Because we make this business look like it is for lame people. It is for people who are not brainy enough.
It
is for people. Yes, that's true.
We don't.
That's why.
Who is making it like
we
that?
make this showbiz
Who is making it like
that? And you see, and that is unserious people. And for me, Jay, let me conclude. And for some of us, it is the tag I don't want on my head.
No, we said we make. Who? No, I'm not asking. I'm asking out of ignorance.
I just gave you an example.
So who?
I watched the Umaru Sanders interview.
I want to understand.
And John Dumelo's interview. And I kept saying to myself that if it was another entertainer or showbiz presenter that did that interview, they will say the person was looking for John Dumelo's downfall.
But that interview,
they will never say that John didn't go to that interview.
Career.
Why? We entertainers we cannot ask about his political career.
No. Hold on.
Entire John Dumelo was about the VH.
Hold on.
It was about the VH.
Yes,
I understand. Hold on.
I'm saying to you,
hold on.
Let me ask you a question.
No, hold on.
Let me ask you a question. Are you saying, because you raised this concern that it was about, even let's say it was about his political career, isn't he an entertainer first? Why can't an entertainer speak politics with another entertainer? No, because you think that the entertainers are dumb. They don't know anything. And so,
but because we have just 7 minutes left. Yeah. Listeners, what you need to understand that this conversation will go beyond today when we hang up. We won't bring it back on air. We'll discuss this
because you already used quite a point.
So watch our social media pages for the banter that we posted right afterwards. But please, we have 7 minutes left. Let's just quickly touch on 2 other subjects, but we can exhaust one real quickly about that's not too much information to digest, but it's about Black Sherif's lookalike video that popped up as well, and seeing that video instantly, I mean, I wonder who went to pull it from somewhere. And I think even Delay has suffered something like that before as well, if you remember.
Yes, he has.
A video, circulated and people said it was Delay, because the person...
With that, what saved her was,
a pimple?
No, I think the dentition, the lady's dentition was different from delay, so that's what saved it. But they looked exactly alike. They looked exactly alike.
What happened in that video?
It was another sex tape.
Yeah, it was a sex tape.
But even with Blacko's situation, I mean, the gentleman in question looks oddly different. The beard, the nose, the eyebrows.
Hey,
for a second, I thought it was when I saw that, I thought it was him.
I didn't go look for it
first look, I thought it was him.
You see, and that's the reason why for me I was a bit upset is because Black Sherif is like the Ghanaian soldier that has kept Ghana in the conversation of global music, right?
Yeah.
Any news that comes out of Black Sherif or comes around Black Sherif, it's our duty to do checks. Because whatever happens, it's going to go global.
You see, this is someone who's going
the Afrochella conversation didn't do this. You see how far it went. BET was discussing this thing. Do you get it? So any brand that transcends our borders into a global market, as soon as there is news around it, we need to do our checks. We don't just jump and say, oh, no credit, and I say no credit. Sometimes the artists don't have to do PR. We have to run at the news
checks.
And do the checks and debunk it. You get it? When I actually zoomed in, and you see, it took me to places I wouldn't go on a normal day.
Hey.
Yes, I mean, what am I going to do on OnlyFans account?
Did you pause the video at any point?
No, I mean, I'm just saying that you have to do your checks to be sure that indeed, because as a news person, people also trust that you will deliver authentic news, right? So if you go and add to the comment, you are laughing, you're like, hey, Charlie, it's Blacko. You are doing the service not just to Blacko, you are doing the service to the whole creative industry.
And that is why people will come in and say that as for these people, these media people, they don't do that.
Don't do checks, don't do research.
They don't support you and bash you. A lot of us don't do.
People are just
don't do justice, like you're saying. Yes, haste to post. They don't do justice to these things because they are very unprofessional. Because they don't have any level of training.
They might have training. And that's the part I want you to understand. That they might have training, but where they find themselves is more like, hey, Charlie, forget my training.
Or we have to do it first. If you don't do it first,
other people will take it. Or forget my training, Charlie. Especially those who are doing the YouTube, the first to break it. So he might have training, but the training in court is not putting money on his table. So he will throw the training away and do something that exactly. So the training is not enough.
A lot of us, let me fall short
this is my last point.
Yes.
When the Davido son, when I got the news and I posted it, right, I had a lot of abuse in my mentions, right? But having looked at it on a second thoughts, I realized that the way I broke the news was not great. Because I had well-meaning people telling me that, no, you need to check the optics of how you break the news. Yes, it may be indeed a breaking news, but the way you even break it, it saves yourself the bashing, and it also protects the family that you are breaking. Because sometimes people are insensitive. Because they want to break the news, they break the news because they want the clicks.
Even though and die. We just say, as it is. Please, I've got some tweets here from BRJ who says that Jay Foley, anyone with a solid training on his or her profession pays attention to every little detail. Sometimes those details doesn't necessarily matter, but due to the training they had, they do attention to it. I prefer they pay attention to it. Another one from director says Jay Foley should try and understand that this industry is hand go, hand come. The artists have a huge role to play in this. Journalists are basically doing their jobs, and artists should know how to answer questions correctly. Love your dress. Thank you. I love your dress, Miss G. Hey, I nearly jumped there.
Today I jumped the tag.
You dress professionally. And I've told you several times. No, it's professionalism in our space. It will help us.
He's being professional.
I don't want to bring a cacophony to the
Charlie.
The conversation is going, so I'm listening. I'm a listener today.
Dennis on Facebook says insightful conversations in the studio. He's listening.
But Cyril, do you agree that our level we have more unprofessionals in our industry than professionals? In 60 seconds.
The industry is not just a professional space. The industry is an amalgamation of professionalism, talent, and then skill. And it's hard to get all these three factors in an equal mix. So you might have great talent that needs grooming. That's why you have support services. That's why you have production. That's why you have post and pre-production guidance. So you can have the funniest, most talented, creative person who's never been in a classroom. But pre-production will determine the outcome of your content.
when professionalism, on the last statement, when professionalism was attached to global citizen, we were all very happy. On that note, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Jay Foley, and I've turned everybody's microphone off. We're back at the same time tomorrow to have more conversations, and we're out.